It's day 2 in Poland, in Krakow to be exact, and today we're going to do something that I've wanted to do ever since I was a small child. In 1969, I met a survivor of the Holocaust. He showed me the tattoo on his forearm and told me about being interned in a place called Auschwitz. It was the first time I'd ever heard of it. Before we came to Poland, I contacted the people at a place called Krakow Direct, and they are going to take us on a private tour of Auschwitz.
Auschwitz-Birkenau is a UNESCO World Heritage Site located an hour's drive from Krakow. Our professional driver, Peter, picked us up at the hotel door and took us through the beautiful Polish countryside on our way to our first stop, the Auschwitz main camp. Once there, he arranged our entry tickets, avoiding the long lines, and introduced us to our tour guide, Teresa, who took us through the infamous gates into the main camp of Auschwitz. Albrecht mocked Frey, "Work makes you free," has become synonymous with Auschwitz, but Camp Commandant Rudolf Höss first saw it written on the walls at Dachau. When you walk through that gate, you enter a world unlike any in human experience. The original block buildings are all still there, and our tour guide took us through them one by one, expertly explaining each area and its significance in the daily operation of the camp. It's a humbling experience to see how people arrived, were assigned numbers, and either exterminated or exploited to death by the numbers. There are displays and artifacts throughout the museum, but most chilling are the display of how the gas chambers actually worked. The empty canisters of Zyklon B, the gas used for mass extermination, and the receipt to the camp that showed the cost per can for the poison. There are poignant and chilling reminders of the people who passed through the camp, the suitcases of the victims still labeled with names of the owners now long gone. You can view the massive piles of shoes, the prosthetic limbs, and everyday items that they left behind. Most chillingly, it includes the toys and clothing of small children who were gassed in the chambers of Auschwitz. A stark reminder of what happens when hatred becomes a political policy. You share an unfiltered insight into the conditions of the camp, how the inmates lived their daily lives with only the most basic of human needs met. Nothing is hidden, nothing is sugar-coated. You can see how they lived, how they suffered, how they struggled to survive, and how they died. You can also see the site where Rudolf Höss, the commandant of Auschwitz, met his end. He was hanged for his crimes on April 16, 1947. The last part of the tour is the crematoria. Here you can see the mechanical precision with which the human remains were destroyed. In each oven, they would fit 3 to 5 bodies. It's a sobering sight. After Auschwitz main camp, our driver took us on to Birkenau, the second part of the tour. It was here that selections took place at the train platform. An SS doctor would examine the new arrivals. Those strong enough to work went into the labor camp. The weak, the sick, the women, children, and the elderly went into the gas chambers. As bad as things were in Auschwitz, the living conditions at Birkenau were even more harsh. Hygiene was next to impossible, and the simplest malady could be deadly. The camp was also the site of a special barracks in which children were experimented on by the Angel of Death, the infamous SS Dr. Joseph Mengele. As the war drew to a close, the Nazis feared the camp would be captured, so they blew up the crematoria. Today, the ruins of them serve as a memorial to the people who died within their walls. Nearby, 4 special stones mark the hallowed ground that holds the ashes of the victims of this terrible crime. It is a sobering experience to walk through the infamous death camp, to reflect on the events that took place there, and to remember those people who arrived, were assigned a number, exploited to death, or sent to the gas chambers. After the tour, our driver took us to the location of the original rail yard that served Birkenau. Every year on the anniversary of liberation, people visit the site to reflect on those who died. Some write on stones and leave them as a solemn memorial. This stone has Kinder on it, the German word for children. And here we find Gott, the German word for God.
When I told people that I wanted to go to Auschwitz, a lot of people looked at me with strange looks and said, "Why the hell would you want to go there?" I come here because it's an important place in our race's history. The human race cannot survive if we allow things like this to happen. I come here to honor the memories of all of those people who lost their identities and died as numbers. And I come here, as everybody should, to remember what was and to pray that it will never happen again.
The Auschwitz-Birkenau tour is an amazing journey into humanity's darkest past, but I think it's a journey we should all share. If you have never visited the Auschwitz-Birkenau site, I strongly urge you to do so.